Let's start with Tom Brady. He has announced on social media he will retire. Tom always gets emotional at just the perfect times, almost always when he mentions family. So here he was this morning, feet in the sand.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
You know, retiring in any industry with elegance is really, really hard. In football, it's almost impossible. Grown men run at each other in full speed and drive their bodies through the other man's soul. It's hard. Injuries pile up. Teams cut you or trade you. It's not like baseball where you get 10-year contracts. You're a shell of yourself in the last 4 or 5 years, and we celebrate you. Thanks for the memories. Football is America's king. There's no time for romance. You're cast aside. You're hurt. You're discarded. Money rules. So does youth. Next man up. It is an 11 to 11 and a half month grind. But Brady had a 20-year dynasty with all sorts of trophies, the league chasing him never relentlessly giving up. Into Tampa, where he won a Super Bowl in a COVID year, 3 years, 3 playoffs, and feet in the sand. That's pretty good. Setting 2 records in his final year. Most attempts and most completions. NFL records at 45. And 45 is an important number. That's the one he always talked about. Tom planned to play till 45. Not shocking. It's the year he retires. Tom's been around so long, the game has changed. From defense wins championships to, what's a fullback? From no social media to a post this morning on his Twitter account that'll get north of 50 million views. From no international games to ones in Germany, Mexico, and England. From gambling is evil to a team in Vegas and a FanDuel ad in every break. Seattle changed conferences. He played against multiple father-son duos. The world has changed. But you know what's interesting about Brady? He hasn't really. He really hasn't. Hyper-competitive to the end. Obsessed with football. Devoted to it. Always wanting to get better. He was my favorite kind of guy. Find a way guy, not find an excuse. The world changed. He evolved, but he didn't really. There was never any what-ifs with Tom Brady as he sits there with feet in the sand. There's no what-ifs. What he wanted, he sought. What he sought, he did. What he did, he won. Everywhere. He won at Michigan. He won at Foxborough. He won in goofy Tampa. You know, years ago, I had an accountant. His name was Bill. He lived in Portland. Nice guy. And he had a bunch of clients, most of them older. Some passed away. And I asked him one time, I said, what do they all have in common? It wasn't education. It wasn't their family. It wasn't any of that stuff. I said, what do they all have in common? And Bill paused and said, the happiest clients I have are the ones without regrets. It's powerful, right? That's Brady. He wanted stuff. He pursued stuff. No passive aggressive. He'd argue. He'd fight. That's a great message. He didn't really see obstacles. Tom saw opportunities. Like, I'll read business books once in a while. They always talk about that stuff. I'm not really sure if you can teach it. Some people wake up grumpy. Some people wake up happy. Some people wake up pessimistic. Some people like Tom wake up optimistic. There's no real obstacles, just opportunities. I tell my kids, you should watch the MJ documentary. And I've said this before on this show. It's amazing, right? Michael Jordan was the best player, the best looking player, the most stylish player, the best defensive player, the best everything. And yet it was hard. Really, really hard. Fighting with owner, fighting with GM, fighting with the Pistons, fighting with the Celtics, fighting with everybody. Fighting with teammates, fighting with Rodman, punched a teammate. It was hard for Michael Jordan. It's been hard for LeBron. It was hard for Brady. Being good's hard. Being great's really hard. Being the GOAT takes your breath away. But Brady, I think, did it with some elegance. He really did. It's almost impossible. John Elway did it too. To leave in football in one piece, not discarded, not traded, not pushed aside for some younger player. As he said in his video, thank you. No, Tom, thank you. And I'm not going to give you advice. You certainly don't need it. But if I could whisper in his ear, I'd say, Tom, take some time. I mean, really. Personally, professionally, this took a bite out of you. Take some time. You've earned it. All right. I also think when Tom Brady retires, there's a ripple effect. This is the way it happens when anybody that's great retires. There's a ripple effect. Now, some of you are thinking he's going to come back. No, he's not. I'll just leave it at that. No, he's not. I was told this morning the Bucks, Jeff Darlington reported it. He's excellent. It was the Bucks to retirement. That was it. My first thought was when Brady retired, maybe it was my second thought, that Kyle Shanahan, coach of the Niners, went, damn it. And Derek Carr went, show me the money. It's the ripple effect. He'll have more offers. Here's the other team I thought of, though, is that people often claim that I change my opinion. And I say that's because people change theirs, and there's new information. And when there's new information, I've got new opinions. And I've said I think it's time to rip the Band-Aid off for the Green Bay Packers. But if you ran the Packers this morning, over the last 72 hours, you look at people and teams and franchises in the way of a Super Bowl trip. San Francisco's Brock Purdy is not only hurt, he may not start the season. He won't be able to participate in off-season workouts. San Francisco's got a mess on their hand. Brady's always a challenge. He's now gone. Minnesota's not going to go 11-0 in close games. Geno Smith, really? Opinions change when circumstances change. And the two obstacles outside of Philadelphia that were clear, San Francisco, they got issues. And Tampa, they got issues too. The GOAT retired. The only thing standing in their way, if you really look at the entire NFC, is Philadelphia. But they're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts. That means some of their expensive free agents are gone, and they've also got 2 or 3 great players in the trenches that are very close to retirement. Opinions change when things change. Thought about that this morning, driving in. Brady is now retired. San Francisco's a mess. Does Green Bay say to themselves this morning, guys, one more year with Aaron. One more year with Aaron. If you combine Aaron and that roster, got all their draft picks, Philadelphia's got some free agents. The Eagles win the Super Bowl. Let's say they do. Guys want to get paid. The ripple effect, it always happens. It happened when MJ left Chicago. Anytime a great person leaves, exit, changes, there's an effect. And I did think this morning, if you're Green Bay, do you go from ripping the Band-Aid off to keeping it on, just waiting a couple days and asking Aaron if he could stop by the office? We'd like to have another discussion.